Hello and welcome to the Northwest Fusion Group video channel. I'm Ian, G0VGS. DMR, D-Star, Fusion, digital voice modes. But, and here's the big question, are they real radio? Let's find out. One of the biggest misconceptions about digital voice modes is that you're simply using the internet to talk to others. Nothing could be further from the truth. All the digital voice modes I mentioned in the introduction can be used by simply connecting an aerial to your digital voice transceiver. You don't need the internet to use digital voice modes using a radio. There are certainly some digital voice applications that don't use RF in the usual way, like Peanut and Zello for example, but on the whole, most digital voice modes use a radio in exactly the same way as FM, AM, SSB and CW. Digital modes also tend to have a better range than FM, and being digital give perfect copy until they get to the very edge of their range. For example, it's perfectly possible to hear stations almost down to S0 perfectly and without any noise or breakup. Digital voice modes can be used simplex or through a repeater in the same way as FM. The internet is not a requirement. Indeed, some digital voice features are specifically designed for RF simplex use. So why the misconception? Well, I think it's the word digital that makes people think the internet has to be involved. Oddly, we're used to digital modes on HF like PSK31, RTTY and FT8, none of which use the internet. But for some reason, as soon as digital voice is mentioned, most people think about Skype. Digital voice simply works by encoding the analog voice signal into a data stream and then decoding back into an analog voice signal in the radio at the other end. Note the word encode. The signal is not encrypted. Anyone using the same mode can decode the data stream in exactly the same way as PSK31, FT8, SSTV or even CW for that matter. So far, everything's just the same as analog FM. Why the interest in digital voice then? Well, amateur radio is all about experimentation and being at the forefront of technology. SSB and FM were taken up by amateurs when they were first starting to be used, and digital voice is just the same. It's a fascinating technology and something new to learn about and experiment with. By utilising a data stream over RF, we also gain the benefit of flexibility. As well as the voice stream, we can send additional data like APRS coordinates, tactical information, call sign data and much, much more, all at the same time. So where does the internet come in? Well, we can use this for linking things together. This isn't a new thing. We've had internet linking for years on analog systems such as IRLP and Echolink, and more recently we've had the All-Star system, which is purely analog FM but linked via the internet. We can do exactly the same with digital voice modes as we do for analog. By linking repeaters together, we can expand the coverage and find more people to communicate with. This can be done by radio linking or via the internet. The internet is by far the simplest way to achieve this, and as most of us have good internet these days, the cost impact is low. Linking via the internet also allows us to have simplex gateways, and you can find out more about the differences between repeaters and gateways in other videos on the Northwest Fusion Group YouTube channel. So why would we want to do this? Well, repeaters were traditionally located on hilltop mast sites, usually commercially owned. We quite often got these sites free or for a nominal amount. This is, on the whole, not the case these days, and siting a repeater on a commercial mast site is a very expensive business. Just putting the aerial on the mast can run into thousands of pounds, and there's also an annual site fee to consider. For this reason, a lot of repeater groups take donations in the form of membership to offset the cost. By having repeaters located at an amateur's home, we lose the coverage of a hilltop site, but by linking them together via the internet, we can achieve the same coverage or better, and you can see this in the following diagram. Here is an example of a hilltop site, and you can see that the coverage is very good. Now let's explore what happens if we lose that site. A lower lying repeater is set up and has a much smaller coverage. We can set up several other repeaters in the same way, and they have overlapping coverage, but are totally independent stations. If you move out of one area into another, you may not be able to continue your conversation. If we link these repeaters though, we have the same coverage as the original repeater. Granted, you'd have to change frequency as you move between the individual repeaters, but that can be done with the single click of a memory channel. The advantage is that you can continue your existing QSO. Some digital voice modes can even automate this, but that's outside the scope of this presentation. So, internet linking is a good thing. It's used to extend the coverage of a repeater network, and on the whole works extremely well. The only caveat is that sometimes latency can be introduced, because although radio travels at the speed of light, the internet doesn't. That said, leaving a 3 or 4 second pause between overs virtually eliminates this problem and hopefully explains why we ask people to do exactly that. Of course, not everyone can erect an aerial or reach a repeater or gateway. Some amateurs, as they get older, may need to move into sheltered housing or residential homes, for example, and can lose touch with their amateur radio friends. Having internet linking can be a huge benefit to such people. By using a hotspot and a radio, they can use the internet to keep up their hobby and continue to enjoy the company of friends. They can also use systems like Echolink via their computer or mobile phone. In conclusion, it's truly important to understand the difference between digital voice modes and internet linking. One benefits from the other, but the two are not inextricably linked. And internet linking can be used by both analog and digital systems equally. So, back to our question. Are digital voice modes real radio? Well, yes, of course they are. Digital voice is just another mode to learn and enjoy. What do you think? And what's your favourite digital voice mode and why? Be interested to know. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, cheerio. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button and do consider subscribing to the channel. If you click the bell icon, YouTube will notify you every time I release a new video.